What's up everybody? I'm Chef Matty B, and today we are back in the Fisher and Paykel kitchen, and we're taking a look at one of my favorite features found on all of their ranges and wall ovens, and that is their cook by recipe. I think this is just such an amazing feature, and they handle it so well because while other companies might just have it where it kind of has general guidelines for how to cook a roast or general baking times and temps for cookies, Fisher and Paykel takes it to the next level and gives you full-on recipes. Ingredients and how much you need for each of them, the process for preparing it, the temperatures that you're gonna cook it at, how long for, everything. It's almost like having a cookbook built directly into the oven. So I was going through these recipes and I saw one that I think is gonna be amazing to try out, and that's gonna be the steamed Bao Buns using the steam oven. But you can't just have Bao Buns by themselves, you need something to stuff it with. So I also have a duck breast that I'm gonna do an orange soy glaze on, and a little bit of an Asian slaw that we can stuff in there as well to make some really tasty little treats. So let's take a look at what this recipe is calling for and get into it. So the first step we're gonna need to do is we're gonna need to get some water and milk into a container and heat that up, and then add our oil and yeast to let that yeast bloom just for about 5 minutes. And while we let that bloom, we can also start cooking off our duck as well. So now our yeast, milk, water, and oil mixture has set for about 5 minutes. You can see it starting to get a little bit bubbly. And the next step says, into a mixing bowl, we need to add 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour and 2/3 of a cup of bread flour. But I don't have bread flour, so I'm just gonna use all-purpose flour. So we can get that added in. And that's gonna work out to be about 2 1/6 cups of all-purpose flour. And then we also need 1 tablespoon of baking powder, 2 tablespoons of sugar, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And then to all of our dry ingredients, we can add our wet ingredients and then let it mix for 10 minutes on medium-low speed. And that dough has come together awesome. That looks fantastic. And so the next step says to take it out of the machine and to finish kneading it by hand just for another minute before putting it into an oiled bowl so that it can proof. And now this next step is actually one of the reasons why I really wanted to do this recipe, and it's to showcase that you can do so much more with a steam oven than just steaming fish and vegetables. Like, we're gonna use it today to make the steam buns, but you can also use it for things like dumplings or even just like cooking chicken breast to make sure that it stays nice and juicy and doesn't dry out on you. But this next step is where it really shines, and that's using a steam oven as a proofer. So now we can press start on the oven to get that steam going and get our dough in so it can proof as well. So while that dough's in the oven proofing, our duck breast is actually cooked now, so we can start building up that orange soy glaze, and then we can get our duck sliced and tossed in that, giving it time to sit in that glaze and really absorb all of that delicious flavor. So for the glaze, it's gonna be pretty simple. We're gonna start out just with a good amount of brown sugar, and I'm gonna add a splash of water to that, and then I can turn that onto medium-high heat until that sugar dissolves. You'll also notice that I'm using the pan that we roasted the duck in, because that's just gonna be extra flavor that we can add into that glaze. And to that, we're gonna be adding the juice of 2 oranges. And with our orange and brown sugar nicely reduced, we can add a bit of soy sauce to that and get our duck sliced up and add that to the glaze as well. And now we'll just leave it on a power level 2 so that it can stay warm and absorb more of that flavor. And just like that, the dough's done proofing. You can see that that worked out awesome. That rose so much. These are gonna be super fluffy. But now it's on to the next step of rolling this dough out to make our bao. So for rolling out this dough, we're just gonna lightly flour our countertop, and then we can knock out the dough ball onto the flour so that it doesn't stick. And then using a rolling pin, we're rolling it out, but we're just looking for it to get to about 1/2 inch thick. So it's not too thick, but it's also not like paper thin. I'd say something like that's probably good. So now we need to add a little bit of oil to the top That way we don't have to worry about our bao sticking once they steam, because we are gonna fold them over like a taco. And then we can use a 3-inch ring cutter here to give us our perfect little circles that we're then gonna fold over and give a really gentle press down with our rolling pin just to make sure that they stay sealed. And those are gonna go onto a tray to rest. And with all of our bao folded, I have a tray here. It's actually included with the steam oven, so it's gonna fit perfectly in there. And I just have it lined with some parchment paper that I can line up all of our little bao on and let it rest. So now with the steam oven all preheated and ready to go, and these bao buns that are looking fantastic, I can throw them in the oven and get them steamed. And like that, our bao are done. And I gotta say, those are looking incredible. Those puffed up so much, I can't wait to try these ones. So now the bao buns are ready, the duck's ready. I got a little slaw that I dressed with some orange juice and oil, nice and simple. It's time to put it all together and give it a try. I cannot wait for this one. Like, these buns are just, they're so fluffy. They're like little clouds. These are definitely like the best bao buns I've ever made in my entire life. Now these look absolutely amazing. I can't wait to try these. I'm gonna just dive in, see how they taste. I have such high hopes for these. They look so good. Oh, those are so good. The bao is so light and fluffy. It's like eating a cloud. Definitely some of the best bao I've ever made. I'm for sure making this recipe again multiple more times. And that duck works so good, but like, you could fill this with literally anything and it's gonna be delicious. That's just how good that bao is. And as you saw, the steam oven works great as a proofer and a steamer, but there's so many more things that you can do with it. So we're definitely gonna be doing more things with the steam oven in the future. And if you guys are enjoying this type of content, then make sure to like and subscribe for more videos like it in the future. And if you wanna learn more about Fisher and Paykel's appliances, then come visit us at TA Appliances and Barbecues. But that's all I have for now, so we'll see you guys next time.